Hello, this is TGC Requiem. We are back with a black-green elves. This is the list I am running tonight in the daily. Oops. Got all sorts of issues going on here. Alright. So we are on the draw. Opening hand. Cavern, Dwynen's Elite, Elvish Archdruid. This seems good. We'll give it a keep. So right now we're thinking Cavern into Heritage Druid. Turn 2, Cavern into Dwynen's Elite, which should get us, well, could get us 3 creatures. At which point we could either Archdruid or Scavenging Ooze with 1 floating, depending on what our opponent does. If we end up against some sort of graveyard strategy, Scavenging Ooze will be great. Otherwise, more likely we'll be going with Elvish Archdruid. I guess while we wait for our opponent to respond here, let's take a look at the list. The changes that I really made were I went down to 3 Dwynen's Elite and went back up to 3 Elvish Visionary. Card draw is just important. I'm interested in even trying out another kind of version of this deck that I've seen running around with Lead the Stampedes and Sylvan Messenger, but just sometimes I find that extra card draw to Visionary is worth it. And then I had to cut down to 1 chord to get 2 Visionary back in. The sideboard we're running 2 Dismember, 3 Beasts Within, the Bow and Ilea for Burn and Affinity, Fracturing Gust for Affinity. And then I went up to 2 Leyline because I've been having a lot of trouble with Red Green Tron and Grixis control with all the burny removal, so we're going to try and increase the odds of that. Our opponent is really going slow. So, looks like we have an Affinity matchup. So this will be a tough game 1. Maybe a little bit of a slow start. Unless he's... I mean, I'm not quite sure what he's doing here. So Inkmoth and a Springleaf is... I was going to say fairly average because you can't use Springleaf on anything. Okay, so now Archdruid, Nykthos, we have the ability, should he not pull into any Galvanic Blasts, we have the ability to really get rockin'. if we can draw into something. Ideally a Crater Hoof. Steel Overseer. False Scourge. Alright, so this Collected Company really is good. So we're going to go Elf again. Then we're going to go let me think this through. Yeah, we have to go Dwynen's Elite. Then we're going to go into Elvish Archdruid. Pass turn. Etch Champion. Alright, so we're going to start out with Heritage Druid. Basically, 1 mana elves are free with Elvish Archdruid. We're then going to tap for 5 mana. And we are going to activate kind of hope we hit an Azuri here. Fortunately we didn't. No point in not casting Skoos here. Now we can attack for 10 points of damage. We're going to make that move, we're going to lose it and only do 7, but ideally that'll give us enough to pressure the next attack for the win. Hopefully he doesn't hit Cranial Plating, although I'm not certain he would get there anyway. So on the assumption that we get 7 damage through, he's at 13. He really can't swing back, he has to play Overseer. I'm assuming he'll block the Heritage Druid with the Etched Champion. But then next turn we're attacking for 10, 22. So he really has to sit back and block, which just plays into our favor. He can Ink Moth, but that's not, yeah, so that's not even the Infect one. Blink Moth is Infect, so he really has to just tap Steel Overseer and block with everything. And he's going to end up losing everything except for Etched Champion. And maybe he sacks something to Arcbound Ravager, so he keeps 2 of these alive and blocks a bunch of creatures. But again, we're looking at 10, 22. Okay, so another Etched Champion. No, this is the Infect. I thought it was an Infect. Why didn't I see this? When flying and Infect. So now if he uses Arcbound Ravager, so Steel Overseer for 1. That makes him a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep. So that's actually game. We're going to lose to Infect damage this turn. I was going to say, I always thought Blink Moth was the one that didn't have Infect. So now Steel Overseer puts him at 2. You can sacrifice to make him a 4. Sacrifice 5, sacrifice 6, 7, 8. I mean, he doesn't even have to do all that. Then sacrifice that, put it on that, Ink Moth, and that's game. There's our 10 poison. Alright, so post board. Scavenging Ooze is useless. Essence Warden's okay, isn't really necessary. Both Fracturing Gust should come in. Beast Within might be decent against the lands. Reclamation Sage. Shaman of the Pack's not really relevant here. I pulled Craterhoof with a fast start, it could be good, but Bow of Nylea, good against the Flyers. I feel like Visionary is too slow in this matchup. Actually going to cut one Azuri. Do I like this? I just still don't know that Essence Warden is fully needed here. I'm going to cut one Essence Warden, get a Visionary back in there. We're going to run with that. Oh, any land but that. This is a great hand. Save the one wrong land. Mulligan. Fortunately, we need to keep this as bad as it is. At least Visionary can draw us into something. Dismember should buy us a little time. So we're going to keep. No one drop. That's painful. I don't know, I feel like maybe I could have kept a couple more Visionary and maybe pulled the cord. Again, seems like another slow start. I see no reason to show the Gilt-Leaf Palace. Vault Scourge, tap the Vault Scourge for another Vault Scourge. I have a feeling that Dismember's going bye-bye. On the flip side, him being out of 2 cards is kind of a positive. So the question now is, do I play the Archdruid and attack for 2? Yeah, but having the Nettle Sentinel be able to attack the next turn for 4 could be huge. But having the Archdruid be able to tap for 4 could be huge, so... Come on, Fracturing Gust. The fact that he has got that lifelink is so brutal. So next turn, he can make him a 9, 10, 11. I mean, so I have to leave somebody back to block, but... I mean, really, if he draws any artifact, this is over. And that's game. Well, unfortunately, that just didn't go in our favor. Affinity is a tough matchup. We didn't really draw into a finisher. We had our opportunities and just didn't get the right cards to finish off when we had the opportunity, at least in the first game. Second game was kind of tough with the mulligan, and I don't know, you know, you can mulligan down to 5 and maybe it's worthwhile. Maybe that was too slow of a keep against Affinity. Probably was, I mean, but at the same time, you're looking at a 6-card hand with 2 lands. Going down to 5, getting 1 land's going to be difficult, or, you know, just, it's not a guarantee. So, I feel like we did the best we could in this matchup. Really, probably, probably just a little bit slower overall, but Elves versus Affinity.